Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pachalina Nivasisha Sunyavadi Ashtatara Sadharina Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, now bring up the book, and we're starting on the verse today. It's a well-known verse to especially pujaris, even not just pujaris, but devotees who have an affection for or worship Giri Govardhan. It's a verse that's often learnt. It's part of the worship when we worship Giriraj here in the temple. It is part of the worship to actually recite this verse, So someone just needs to mute. If you're not muted, I can hear a lot of background noise. That's a bit better. Yeah, great. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we're on text 109. Yep. So anyone like to begin reading? Kumari Priya, please, you have your hand raised. I presume that's for reading.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, yes, please, go ahead. You can miss the Sanskrit for this reading, Bhagavatamrta. We're just reading the translation. The
Okay,
Sanskrit
sure.
can be sometimes difficult. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Text 109. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. All my friends, for Krishna and Balaram, along with their cows and covered friends, this hill supplies all necessities: caves, fruits, flowers, edible fruits, water for drinking, and very soft grass. In this way, the hill offers respect to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and the Balaram, Govardhan hill appears very jubilant. Commentary. Next, Parikshit Maharaj cites a verse in the praise of Govardhan, Bhagavatam 10:21-18, spoken by another of the gopis. She addresses her girlfriends with the interjection Hanta, which expresses both joy and amazement. This hill, Govardhan, she says, is certainly the best of all the servants of the Supreme Lord, who is named Hari, because he takes away everyone's sins and miseries and everyone's heart. As evidence what
Right, there you go.
Govardhan is the best of Krishna's devotees. She mentioned that from the touch of the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, he displays ecstasy, the grass growing on his body, looking just like bodily hair standing on end, the water trickling down his sides, looking just like perspiration. Furthermore, Govardhan performs elaborate worship not only of Krishna and Balaram, but also of their cows and covered friends. In addition to the cows, the word go here indicates the other animals herded by Krishna, buffaloes, goats, and others. The Ganas are Krishna's companions, Balaram, Sridham, and the other covered boys. Govardhan worships them all with the things that give them special pleasure, including drinks, panya, like water, honey, and sugarcane juice. He also offers suyavasa, excellent grass, or taken su, to mean various products like fruits and flowers. He offers such things along with fresh grass. In his caves, he provides beds and seats made of stones, and lamps and mirrors made of jewels. And he gives various root vegetables for Krishna and the boys to eat. Thus he is the best of Krishna's devotees, because with loving devotion he serves not only Krishna, but also Krishna's brother, his friends and his cows. By saying this and by calling the other girls Abalach, feeble girls, the gopi speaking implies that she and the other gopis are less fortunate than Govardhan. Bewildered by their love for Krishna, they lack the strength to render such valuable services. Another way to understand the words Rama, Krishna, Charana, Parasha, Pramoda is what Krishna's feet give happiness to the entire world and always enjoy many kinds of sports. Govardhan delights those two lotus feet whenever they touch the stones on his surface, which then at once become soft like a newly churned butter, and very cool or else slightly warm, as may suit the time. Or taking yet other meanings of Rama and Charana, Krishna's playful behavior. Charana is enchanting, Rama for entire world. Govardhan takes pleasure, pramoda, in helping Krishna reveal his enchanting pastimes, which bring everyone in the world in contact, sparasha, with his lotus feet. Because the gopis cannot do what Govardhan does, the speaker of this verse seems to say, we are condemned. Thus, even though the gopis are full in all virtues, they consider themselves inadequate. Such is the nature or dissatisfaction of persons on the highest level of pure love of God.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. So this verse happens to be, again, it's obviously it's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and specifically, as far as I can recall, it's chapter 21, which is otherwise known as the Venu Gita. And especially the last paragraph is explaining the context of why Govardhan is being glorified. And specifically, this verse is spoken by Radharani as well. Yeah. So she calls Govardhan Haridashavaya, the best of devotees. Yeah. Because they see everyone as being having more love and more affection for Krishna than themselves. So even so-called inanimate objects, they glorify as being more advanced than them. Some of you might have read the Venu Gita. There's one of Shiva Amraj's first books on Krishna Lila. It's called Venu Gita. Yeah. So, for example, the gopis and Radharani, they're glorifying. Um, they glorify the deer as being more advanced and being more attached to Krishna than them, or being more fortunate than the gopis. So they offer transcendental envy towards the deer and also the calves and the cows. Yeah, they have free reign to approach Krishna any time when he's in the forest, for example. But the gopis don't have that privilege. Same as the deer. Yeah, Krishna can freely approach them. But the gopis, they're very restricted about how much they can actually be with Krishna. And also they glorify the birds as being more advanced than them. The birds have a wonderful vista of Krishna's pastimes. Yeah, vista means vision or sight. And so they glorify the birds, and like that, the cloud, they look to the clouds and seeing the clouds as being more fortunate than themselves. We'll see the yeah. And then they speak about Giriraj, and that's in text. Then they speak this verse, that's text 18 of Venu Gita. So it's wonderful to read if you ever get an opportunity, or that chapter as well in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It comes from chapter 21. Yeah. And any other glorifications of Govardhan? Well, some of you might have Govardhan Shilas at home. I don't know. Some of you might be worshipping. Govardhan gives his whole body. Govardhan doesn't hold anything back. Gives his whole body in the service of Krishna. And and here the details are given. We had a nice when I was in India, my last visit to India, we stayed at the Govardhan Retreat Center. We was on a retreat with a Satyananda Maharaj and Bodhijan. And there's a wonderful part of the retreat. It's called being alone with Krishna. So what you do is you get, you get a asan, you get a little wooden board, and you bring a picture of your guru or your worshipful deities, and no one's allowed to speak with each other, more or less. You go there you sit at the foot of Govardhan. You go out the center and you sit right at the foot of Govardhan, and you just do japa, you know, with Govardhan right there in front of you. It's really beautiful. And then after 2 hours or so, then you gather together with other devotees and you share some inspiration, share some insights, some Krishna conscious katha about Govardhan. It's really nice. If you haven't had that opportunity, it's something to think about. Taking part in that retreat. It's really nice. Anyone here has taken part in that retreat?
Is it for ladies as well, or was it just for the brahmacharis?
No, it's for it's for everyone. Spirit souls.
I've done a few days.
Yeah, spirit souls, male or female. Yeah, no, it's for everyone. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, yeah, we spend a couple of hours there in the mornings, and then in the evenings, there's nice Krishna guitar. You know, yes, one of the highlights in our ISKCON society. It's quite popular. The Govardhan retreat at the Govardhan Retreat Center. Yes, because I worship Govardhan. I've been worshipping Govardhan for a few years in the form of our Govardhan Shila. So I have a kind of a little affection for Govardhan. He's very merciful and he's very kind, you know. Okay. Any any reflections or comments? Whereas we can read harm about Vrindavan. Okay, let's just see the length of the purple. Okay, relatively short. Someone like to read this text 110?
I can do it.
Yes, please go ahead, Rob. Thank you.
In the company of Balaram and the cowherd boys, Lord Krishna is continually vibrating his flute as he herds all the animals of Braj, even under the full heat of the summer sun. Seeing this, the cloud in the sky has expanded himself out of love. He is rising high and constructing from his own body, with its multitude of flower-like droplets of water, an umbrella for the sake of his friend. Commentary. Maharaj Parikshit has glorified Vrajbhumi in general way by praising its principal attractions, the Vrindavan forest and Govardhan hill. Now in 41 verse,
Wow.
beginning with this one, Bhagavatam 10, 21, 16. He will continue to glorify Vrajbhumi by praising various forms of life in Vraj. One after another, in order of increasing importance, he selects those living beings that receive Krishna's special mercy, each in its own way. We can understand that King Parikshit, while reciting each of these verses, felt something of the individual ecstatic moods of the devotees he was describing. The clouds in the sky above Rajbhumi may not have been may not have taken birth inside Vraj, and by ordinary judgment may not even be considered living beings, but simply by floating over Vraj and obtaining Krishna's mercy, these clouds have come to life. Therefore, the gopis glorify them. The gopis single out a particular cloud that went out of his way to serve Krishna. That cloud once saw Krishna, Balaram, and their friends herding their countless cows, buffaloes, and other animals, and letting the animals wander, even into the hot summer sun, Krishna playing constantly on his flute. The cloud guessed that Krishna and his friends might be getting tired, so he placed himself just above the spot where the boys gathered at midday, on the relatively cool ground in the shade of a circle of trees. Listening to Krishna play his flute and call out to the cows, the cloud, filling with ecstasy, rumbled with gentle thunder, as if his voice was ecstatically choking in his throat, and sprinkled fine drops of rain, as if to shed ecstatic tears of joy. These offerings of love inspired Krishna to encourage the cows even more in his sweet, deep voice to take advantage of the opportunity to eat plenty of grass. The clouds, increasing ecstasy as they watched Krishna from closer and closer, made the cloud grow bigger and bigger. He could presume himself Krishna's friend because both he and Krishna were fully absorbed in working for the general welfare of the world. So as a person naturally serves a dear friend, the cloud took care to serve Krishna. Like a huge umbrella, he shaded Krishna and he poured down a cooling rain. The cloud's raindrops are cold, its flowers Megha
Pushpa.
So the drops that fell on the boys were like small flowers, or else the cloud literally showered them with heavenly flowers. This cloud gave special pleasure to Krishna by trying to serve not only Krishna but also his brother Balaram and all the cowherd boys and the cows and the other animals. By describing this situation, the gopi speaking means to say, my dear girls, that cloud is most fortunate, but we are unfortunate in every respect. Our faith is just the opposite of his. When Krishna goes out to herd his cows, we hardly ever have a chance to see him. And even if we do, we become bewildered by hearing his flute. Distressed by love, we become debilitated, unable to act. How then can we do any practical service for Krishna, like shading him from the noontime sun?
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So this verse, let me just check back the verse in the Kantushtra. Yeah, these verses are directly taken from Venu Gita. They are that specific chapter, but interesting because it's not in the same order. This verse that we read, 109, here, that's verse 18 in the Srimad Bhagavatam of that chapter. This verse, 110, is verse 16. Yeah, that's the far, yeah, it's verse 16. That's the one we just read, isn't it? Yeah, 110. Yeah, that's verse 16. And the next one is, let me just look, I got the not is 15. So it goes 18, 16, 15. Oh, anyway, this is my Pritchard's ecstasy, you know. So any particular reflections here or comments? Sorry?
I think it's amazing that a cloud seems to have life and wants to serve Krishna. Because cloud is just a sort of a mixture of a few fumes.
Is it Amana or is it in Amana? Is the cloud Amana or is it in Amana? Yeah. Often the gopis. Sorry?
It's inanimate, isn't it?
At least in the material world.
Yeah, I thought in Vrindavan everything is emanate.
Yeah. In the spiritual world, yes, for sure. But I remember my Guru Maharaj Shivaram Swami brings up, it may or may not be. This is the ecstasy of the gopis. This is their madness of love. Okay, let's just take it from one perspective that, yeah, everything is fully conscious in the spiritual world. But besides that, whether it is or not, the gopis are in a great ecstasy. So they're in, it's called unmada, like a type of madness that was specifically exhibited when Radharani was speaking to a bee. That famous, she was speaking to a bee, and as far as she was concerned, then the bee was speaking back. So in her mind, bewildered by great love for Krishna, she was imagining the bee to be a messenger of Krishna. But as we know, the acharyas revealed that that bee was actually Krishna. That's that's another subject. But this is, yeah, good. I was thinking about that, Maharaj Kishore, as we was reading this, just remember, yeah, the cloud, it's just a cloud, but it's in the gopis' eyes, the cloud is a great devotee because it's given shade to Krishna and it's sprinkling down mega pushpa flowers in the form of fine rain. It's doing, and the cloud does much better, does more service and pleases Krishna more than what they do. I mean, we can understand objectively that it's the gopis that give great pleasure to Krishna, but they see themselves in their humility. They they even look at inanimate so-called objects like clouds as being more advanced than what they are. So you can tell they're completely unmother, completely in symptoms of madness in their love for Krishna. Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, so it says at the end, my dear girls, that cloud is most fortunate, but we are unfortunate. There's something in the Venu Gita, the gopis say, fie on us, fie on us. We are so unfortunate. And then they also glorify the flute as being so fortunate. Then they have transited into envy towards the flute for getting the nectar of Krishna's lips. Then they have a whole discussion, whole discussion. You know? Yes.
We read Venu Gita, didn't we?
Yeah, I was going to ask that question as well. I think we read Venu Gita together. That was a few years ago.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember, you know, especially the flute, the bamboo, the parents on the Ganga, Yamuna.
Yeah, that's it. The flute comes from the reeds on the Jamuna, the whole
Yeah,
discussion. Yeah. Yeah, so this is devotee. They see everyone else as being more advanced than them. So the most advanced devotees, the gopis, they see everyone and everything else as being more advanced than them and doing more service to them and pleasing Krishna more than what they are.
Yeah, and I was thinking just reading or hearing this, reading the cloud, just shows how much devotion everybody has for Krishna. Details to devotion.
Yeah,
It brings up, like, we feel like a bit devotional, a bit, by just reading these kind of things.
yeah, we get a little bit,
Yeah,
a little
like
bit.
we get, even the
Yeah,
cloud like that. So when will we be there and develop love like that?
yeah. Lumber
Yeah,
separation for that what you hear.
yeah,
And I was thinking also again appreciating Mars Parikshit. This is his absorption in the ecstasy of glorifying Raj. He's completely oblivious that he's going to die soon. Mentioned before, it's his Maharaj Parikshit speaking after Bhagavatam was spoken, Brhad Bhagavatamrta, and he's just absorbed in glorifying Vrindavan. Yeah. So that's the essence of the Bhagavatam. Actually, the essence of the Bhagavatam ultimately is the 10th canto and the glorification, like 82 chapters. So Mars Parikshit has got the message from Sukadev Goswami. He's completely absorbed in Krishna, Vrindavan, and and all the pastimes. Yeah. So he's recounting it. What's his mother's name again? Recounting to his mother?
Uttara.
Uttara.
Uttara. Yeah, Uttara. He's recounting to Uttara. Yeah. Right. So, anyone want to continue to hear about Vrindavan? Yes, let's hear about it. If we can't see it, if we have any experience of it, let us hear about it. And from hearing, then we can experience it.
Yes.
All right. So we're on text
One.
111. Don't mind, I'm going to jump in and read. Okay. When the rivers, yeah, this is this is from Venu Gita again. When the rivers hear the flute song of Krishna, their minds begin to desire him. So rivers desire Krishna, and thus the flow of their current breaks, and their agitated waters move around in whirlpools. Then, with the arms of their waves, the rivers embrace Murari's lotus feet, and holding on to them, present offerings of lotus flowers. So some of you might be aware, some of you might not, but we have an outfit which their lordships wear. It's called Venu Gita. So look out for that outfit. It's called Venu Gita. Vamsivat did the design. Very beautiful. And it's got on the backdrop, it's got the rivers, it's got the clouds, it's got the cows, it's got all the different subjects which the gopis see as having great devotion to Krishna. It's got flutes all on the outfit called Venu Gita. So there's your homework. Every time, look out for that outfit when it comes, Venu Gita. Okay, continue. Yeah, commentary. The rivers in Raj receive even greater mercy than the clouds. To external eyes, the rivers of Raj may seem unconscious, but they are not ordinary bodies of water. Thus, another gopi sings this verse. And here, 10:21:15, chapter 21. In praise of all those rivers headed by Sri Yamuna and Manasi Ganga. Or else, only one river is being praised, namely the Jamuna, and she is being referred to in the plural out of great respect. In any case, since the other rivers of Raj are Sri Yamuna's companions, when she is glorified, so are they all. Krishna is called Mukunda because he is the bestower of supreme happiness. The vibration of his flute is the sweetest of all songs. When he plays his flute near the rivers, the sound enters the river's ears and captures their hearts, making them feel intense attraction of Cupid, which brings agitated whirlpools to their surface and stops their flowing currents. While understanding the word Lakshita differently, the rivers undergo many thousands of ecstatic transformations caused by desire. Okay, so in Vrindavan, the river, especially Jamuna, has ears, has a heart. Yeah. If the words Mukunda Gitam Avata are split instead as Mukunda Gita Mahavata, the luxuriant potency Ma of the song from Sri Mukunda's flute brings about reoccurring waves, avata, of ecstatic symptoms, which disclose that the rivers are feeling agitated by Cupid. So this is Sanatana Goswami who's really churning this verse by giving different interpretations of the words. So he's really kind of expanding on this sloka and giving different understandings. So the gopis speaking in the depth of her love for Krishna is too confused and fearful to mention his flute explicitly. But obviously enough, the words tat and gitam, which refer back to previous verses, imply the flute. The waves of the rivers are like arms with which the rivers take hold of Krishna's feet in utter humility, gently covering those lotus feet in their embrace. The rivers do this just to calm the fever of lust in their hearts. Okay, this is transcendental calm, okay? If instead of covered, we take, so he's going to give another interpretation now of a word. If instead of covered, we take shtakitam to mean unmoving, the rivers embrace Krishna's lotus feet with loving enthusiasm, even though those feet are unmoved, too proud to reciprocate. Or else taking stakitam to mean stopped, Krishna's feet are very restless, always moving here and there, yet they become tranquil by the pleasant touch of the river's embrace. The rivers express their love for Krishna by catching hold of his feet with their waves. Any river fortunate enough to have Krishna standing within her waters would certainly want to offer suitable worship to his divine feet. But the force of Cupid's attraction bewilders the rivers and slows their currents. So despite possessing immense treasures of jewels, pearls, and other riches, the rivers can manage to present only lotus flowers. While reading the word Kamala as a female name, by convention, a name of the goddess Lakshmi, the rivers who worship Krishna with their embraces are themselves worshipped by Lakshmi. When rivers hear the enchanting song of Krishna's flute, they forget their normal tendency to flow towards their husband. The ocean, forget their normal tendency to flow towards their husband, the ocean. Instead, they turn still and assume human-like forms. And instead of their own gems and pearls, they offer Krishna his favorite Raja-grown lotuses, presenting them on top of golden necklaces, upaharaha. The rivers would touch the 2 feet of Sri Murari with the many long arms, their waves, and hold his feet firm in their embrace. Therefore, the Gopi says, we are not actually fortunate, but these rivers are. Not only are we unable to listen to the song of Krishna's flute, but our desire to be with Krishna does not stop the endless flow of service to our husbands, nor our other household duties. We cannot appear before him in person, nicely dressed and suitably ornamented for his worship, nor do we have many long broad arms with which we can stop the restlessness of his lotus feet and place them on our breasts. Hari Hari, Hari Krishna. Nice description, huh? Again, the gopis are feeling themselves unworthy or feeling themselves not so advanced. Okay. Anyone, any comments? Or if not, someone like to read 112? Any volunteers out there?
I can read if nobody
Go ahead.
wants.
Oh, sorry.
The trees and creepers in the forest respond to the sound by becoming so luxuriant with fruits and flowers that they seem to be manifesting Lord Vishnu within their hearts. As their branches bend low with the weight, the filaments on their trunks and vines stand erect in the ecstasy of love of God. And both the trees and the creepers pour down a rain of sweet sap.
Excuse me.
Greater than the clouds and rivers are the forest plants, who are sentient beings. Another of the gopis recites this verse, Bhagavatam 10:35-9.
Yeah, this is another chapter now. I was reading from chapter 21, now chapter 35. Okay,
In
go.
praise of the trees and creepers of Vrindavan, who has the great fortune to associate with Krishna during the day. The gopis are singing their verses to remind themselves of how Krishna is enjoying in the forest, achieve some solace from the pain of being separated from him. In the previous verse of the Bhagavatam, 10:35-8, the gopis sang of Krishna's playing his flute to call the cows, Venuna avyati gaisa yadahi. Thus the sound, the trees, the creepers are responding to is the sound of Krishna's flute. The flute song directly addresses the cows, not the trees and creepers. Yet the trees and the creepers of Vrindavan and the other forests of Raj react in ecstasy, pouring down a continuous flow of sap. It seems that they behold the Supreme Person of Godhead everywhere, inside their heart and outside. And though the all-pervasive Supreme Lord Vishnu appears in numerous forms, they see him in the one form who submits himself to the control of pure devotion, Shri Nanda Kishore. The creepers try to hide that they are seeing him, as one might try to hide that one is seeing a rare and secret treasure, but their aesthetic love confounds their attempt. Unwittingly, they let everyone see that Krishna is manifest in their heart. The symptoms of Krishna's inner presence are obvious. The creepers are outwardly rich with an endless supply of fruits and flowers, and their branches bend low, not only from the weight of their fruits and flowers, but also from an inner mood of humbleness, which show a deep wealth of good qualities derived from piety and spiritual knowledge. Moreover, the gross and subtle bodies of the creepers show signs of transcendental ecstasy, evidence that the creepers possesses the deeper inner wealth of pure devotion. The creepers and also their husbands, the trees, are fully endowed with these symptoms of external and internal wealth. The gopis mention the creepers before the trees because the creepers are women like themselves. These creepers and trees very much resemble Sri Krishna's devotees, who are rich with the fruits of beauty, aristocracy, wealth, and influence, and with the flowers of children and other family members. Krishna's devotees are rich with the flower-like Vedas, which offer lush promises of reward, and richly steeped in study of Vedas and performance of Vedic sacrifice, and are also rich with the fruit of enjoyment in this life and the next. Nonetheless, these devotees remain always bowed down in humility, shyness, and other saintly qualities, and their family members, Vitapa, show these qualities as well.
Yeah, just something to note here. If we was given a task, perhaps to give a purport and a commentary on just the creepers of Vrindavan, we might be pushed to elaborate in such a wonderful way that Sanatana Goswami here, he's just elaborating just on the creepers, you know, giving so many wonderful purports and explaining it so wonderfully and beautiful. You know,
I like
so,
the creepers and their husband trees.
yeah, the creepers. That's often a poetic example is given in Braj actually. Often the gopis, they also, yeah, they often there's conversations about the comparing themselves to creepers, and Krishna's generally the black tamal tree, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
black tamar tree and the golden creepers. And also, yeah, also when the gopis speak with each other, they don't speak directly about their affection and the love for Krishna. Yeah, because they're young girls and they have their husbands and they can't be speaking about a love, for Krishna as such. So they speak in these indirect ways. They speak about creepers and they speak about tamal trees, but really they're speaking about Krishna and they're speaking about Radharani. It's parokshavad, it's called. It's called indirect language, where they can speak with each other in such a way, and if someone was hearing, then they might not know that they're speaking about their love for Krishna, you know. So they make these comparisons to creepers and trees and clouds even and the rivers, and so it's called parokshavad. It's mentioned that Krishna likes that indirect glorification of him is very much liked, this Parokshavad. Yeah. So if you read 10th canto and commentaries as well, you often find these poetic similes are given. So they can speak about their affection for Krishna in such a way that it won't be detected. Yeah. Because as we know, this is a few thousand years ago. So society was not like it is now. It was very much cultured, where a lady couldn't even look at another man or couldn't have any interaction whatsoever. Yeah, but they've fallen helplessly in divine love for Krishna, and they can't help but speak about him to each other. But they speak in such a way that it might not be detected. Does anyone know when there was a time in Krishna's pastimes where the gopis they exhibited their divine attachment to Krishna and they didn't care what anyone else thought of them? There's a specific point where it became obvious to everyone of how much the gopis were attached to Krishna.
When Krishna had a headache?
No, not
when
not.
he was leaving Vrindavan to go to Mathura.
Yes, correct. When he was leaving Vrindavan, being taken by wicked Akura. Yeah. Then they went in there, they just kind of lost it, so to speak. And they unabashedly and unshamedly ran to that chariot and were grabbing hold of the horses and throwing themselves down before the wheels, for everyone to see, you know. Of course, it wasn't just them who was in divine anxiety, it was everyone in the whole village was. So it kind of didn't really attract so much attention as such because everyone was in this great ecstasy or madness of Krishna's going. But that's for the first time when they kind of, what do they call it? They came out the closet, so to speak. Yeah. Sorry, we cut you off during the reading. But yeah. Anybody else wants to make any yeah, any reflections, please feel free. Yeah, you was mid purple. Oh, John, the creepers, I think.
No, I
No,
read that
yeah, the devotees.
yeah, the devotees of the
Oh, look,
Lord.
here it is here. I've just been going on about it, and it comes up the next paragraph. Just see. I should
Okay.
have kept quiet.
The
Hare
devotees
Krishna.
of the Lord try to keep Sri Vishnu hidden in their hearts, like a housewife who tries to conceal her extramarital affair. But the Lord so thoroughly pervades the inner and outer workings of all the senses that the devotees cannot keep him from openly shining forth, especially when they hear the song of Krishna's flute. Their intensified love expresses itself in their bodies as horripilation on their limbs, and they shed torrents of ecstatic tears and show other signs of joy, as indicated in this verse by the word Vyanjantya eva, as if exhibiting. Vaishnavas naturally want to respect the sanctity of their prema by not showing it to anyone and everyone. Prema should not be allowed to degrade into a cheap public spectacle. But when symptoms of increased ecstasy appear in their bodies, Vaishnavas sometimes cannot completely conceal their inner feelings. The songs like this one that the gopis sing in the 35th chapter of the 10th canto differ from their complaints of separation from Krishna, cited earlier from previous chapters. Before, the gopis mostly lamented their bad fortune, but now they are seriously trying to raise themselves above the misery of being separate from Krishna during the day. By singing these songs, they actually feel great joy, as Sukdev Goswami states at the end of the chapter, 10:35-26. O king, during the daytime, the women of Vrindavan thus took pleasure in continuously singing about the pastimes of Krishna. And the minds and hearts of those women absorbed in him were filled with great festivity. Although the women intensely felt the pain of separation from Krishna, by singing about his pastime, they were able to keep their minds fixed on him. And so they were happy even during the day. At the beginning of chapter 35, 10:35-1, Srila Sukdev also said, whenever Krishna went to the forest, the minds of the gopis would run after him, and thus the young girls, although saddened, spent their days singing of his pastime. This statement can be understood to mean that even though being apart from Krishna made the gopis sad, they managed to pass their days happily by singing about his pastimes. According to the explanation given by Srila Siddhartha Swami, the gopis praising the creepers and trees of Vrindavan means to say, if even the plant life has such a deep love for Krishna, how can we be expected to tolerate being separated from him? All the same, by singing the glories of Krishna, whose transcendental body in the essence of all bliss, the gopis feel great pleasure. Their songs are not pitiful lamentation, but the highest revelations of aesthetic love. Or if one prefers to see the negative side of love in separation, the word Mahodaya, festivity, can be understood to be used ironically to indicate just the opposite of what it literally means. That is to say, because the hearts of the gopis burn incessantly in the fire of prema, they never enjoy a moment's happiness.
Okay, thank you. How can we possibly make any comments upon this? But is there any comments? Because open your ears and hear this wonderful description by Sanatana Goswami. There was, because I'm just reflecting back on my readings of Venu Gita. I've got it open here. Can't quite find the part which I wanted. But if I remember rightly, it was all the gopis, they had they have felt at some point they felt at some point, but they was all attracted to Krishna. All of them, every young girl had a crush on Krishna in Vaj, at least those of their Pacific age. Of course, if they're younger girls, then they would appreciate in a different way. But their Pacific attraction to Krishna, and in the beginning, they didn't know they all shared the same attraction to the same boy. And that's why, but then at some point, that's why there's a chapter here in Avenu Gita called the gopis assemble together and they begin to speak about Krishna, about how beautiful he is, about his flute playing, about how he's lotus eyes, and they begin to speak about Krishna. And they, for the first time, they're actually speaking to each other. And they become so intoxicated with this speaking about Krishna. The gopis assembled together, it's called. I might not be able to pinpoint it here right now. Yeah. Yeah, so just for Hare Krishna. And this part is, I think with this part here is interesting. Well, it's not interesting, it's like we've heard it a few times. Devotees of the Lord try to, yeah, here, devotees are not want to show or express if they happen to have feelings of ecstasy and a love for Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, like here, Vaishnavas naturally want to respect the sanctity of their prema, yeah, by not showing it to anyone and everyone. Yeah, because then it disappears. Yeah, so it's something sacred. It's kept within the hearts of the devotees. And sometimes Prabhupada, it was only on rare occasions, but Prabhupada would sometimes become overwhelmed with great feelings of ecstasy in public, but he didn't. It was on rare occasions, you know, like here. Prema should not be allowed to degrade into a cheap public spectacle. And for me, I'm taking this because we're taking note of this because we're speaking about one thing. We're speaking about it in the Nectar Devotion class, and we were finished now. But Rupa Goswami he speaks about this to quite some extent about the ecstatic symptoms that some persons will artificially imitate such symptoms. So then he gives 9 symptoms which cannot be imitated, which are the signs of someone who has great love for Krishna. Yeah. He gives 9 specific symptoms. Okay, one of them is avyakta kalatvam, doesn't waste any time, and there's more. All right. Any curiosities? Any questions?
I
Go
was
back.
thinking
Go
this is
on.
the gopis, right? Feeling separation. Also, the gopas, some of the gopas, when they come back with him, they won't go home. They'll just stay till Krishna comes out again, you know. So
Yeah, everyone.
yeah, so they feel this.
Everyone. As Krishna leaves, then some of them just faint away, especially the elders, they like faint and they have to be carried home by the other servants, you know. Yeah. A wonderful description. Yeah. That's Krishna enters the forest. Yeah, it's not just the gopis, but the cowherd boys and the youngsters, the elders, everyone, you know. So I'm flicking through here, Venu Gita. Hare Krishna. Yes. So it's
How many,
different than, sorry?
I thought, how many times Yashoda goes to Krishna while he's walking till Krishna says, Mother, go back home now.
Yes, yes. She does it again and again and
Yeah.
again. Yeah. Krishna goes to the forest and Mother Yasoda group brings him back again, and he tried to go again and again and again. Such love that she has for her son, Krishna. Yeah. And in the end, I think Krishna has to literally not chastise, but he has to beg his mother to please, please, mother, let me go. Then eventually she lets him go. And the gopis, they're associate, of course, we know they enjoy dancing at nighttime. Like today is today's Purnima. It's a full moon. We have a Sharat Purnima outfit on. Today is Purnima, where Krishna will enjoy dancing. But other than that, the gopis, as you heard expressed, they cannot spend a day with Krishna. You know, it's only the cowherd boys who spend a day with Krishna. And then even when Krishna comes back in the evening, it's very, Krishna's with the family, Krishna's with the cowherd boys, so they don't get unrestricted access to Krishna. And that just increases their great love and their great feelings of, separation for Krishna. Yeah. Okay. Now, it's 11, no, it's not 11, it's 6:57. It's verse 113. Now, is this where you finished, Mother? 112 or here, wasn't it? You
Yes.
finished here.
Yeah,
So what
we're
we'd do is that let's just read the verse and let's just pause there, okay? We'll just read the verse. I can read it here. Oh, original personality, these bees must all be great sages and most elevated devotees of yours, for they are worshipping you by following you along the path and chanting your glories, which are themselves a holy place for the entire world. Although Though you have disguised yourself within this forest, O sinless one, they refuse to abandon you, their worshipful Lord. Jai Brihad Bhagavatamrta ki Jai. Now, 1 second.